We're going to be on set.
I might drop the F-bomb.
Oh, you can drop the F-bomb. This is soulogy.
Oh, fuck.
We have, we're online on all 7. Okay. Welcome, everybody, on the live and the replay. We are going to get to know a beautiful, beloved sister. Hello, Dell from Periscope, Twitter. It's good to see you. We're starting to get some audience on there. It might take a while. Yeah, we're going to play this is SOULSPEAKS 5D for those of you who are new. This is our primary broadcast vehicle. We've done about 2,400 episodes. Be about 25 by the end of December. And let's see. And I'm a little bit off kilter, the energies. But we're going to get to know this beautiful, beloved sister today. I'll intro a little bit more when we get back. Stephanie Lynn says she loves the F-bombs. This is our short intro that we play before every show. It's 1 minute and 19 seconds. This gives people time to come in the door. We have been getting suppressed quite a bit, like more than we have in months. So if you could share this to one page or one group, that would be great. And when we have our website rolled out in about 10 or 12 days, that won't be an issue because you can watch it, anything we do on the website as well as on social media. Okay, be right back. What's happening, everybody? Welcome, Liverpool. Welcome, Australia. Welcome, everybody. Let me give you a little backdrop. You know, I'm not big on intros or bios. Pauline, I haven't even asked her how to pronounce her last name, so I'm going to take a stab at it. Pauline Cutajar.
Cutajar.
Pauline Cutajar.
So it's not.
Denise Chadwick says, so lovely to put a face to the name, Pauline Cutajar. Lovely to see you. So Pauline is one of the many, 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 literally thousands of people, okay, that I've seen her name, and therefore her energy around soulogy for a long time, a really long time. I used to know everybody, and now there's so many I don't know them, but I always recognized her. She has always been a supporter in many ways, and, and then she connected with Morgan. And on Morgan Zero Pointing, and she's had some remarkable things happen in her life, like a lot of people talk about. And this isn't a plug for Morgan, but it just is what it is. But and so we can talk about anything you want to, and we don't have to talk about anything you don't want to. But either way, we're going to have a conversation. She's a little nervous, like a lot of people when they come out the first time. And it's just a conversation, no different than when we talked to David Icke on the 18th. It's always a conversation. It's not a Q&A. You're welcome to ask questions too. And we're just going to get to know each other. I feel like I already know you, really, but we get to know each other in front of our brothers and sisters. Jen Giordano, and she's been on before. I can't pronounce her name either. She said, what's the topic? The topic is real-time intel, a lot of people may not know this. Morgan Lee actually downloaded, like in 2008, or requested from the universe, or a little of both, to create a platform where people could gather, in a supportive field of energy where they could share their experiences, their skills and abilities, their lives, and whatever they could bring to the table, their emotional and physical and mental strains coming from these incredible energies that have been just pouring it on all year 2020. But so that's some backdrop on Pauline. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you for coming in and honoring us with your presence and sharing space with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, Morgan corrected me. She connected with you through Sacred Union Experiences. Well, if there was any conversation, there had to be some 0 point involved. That's how that's the way it works. That's the way it goes with Morgan Lee. But and Jen said transparency. Yeah. So that's a big part of it. Yeah. I don't know. Where do you want to start? Is there anything you want to lead off with, or do you want to answer the famous Soul Speaks 5D question, when did you wake up? So it's up to you.
So I suppose I've been awake most of my life. I think my mission in this life was to actually be the human. So I've sort of come from top to bottom. I've got 3 kids that are all teenagers, and it wasn't really till I had children that I really, became grounded in my body, because I've always been freaking out there, airy-fairy, searching, looking, really, I didn't belong here. I felt like I never belonged here. But then once I had my children, it was like, hey, you've got a responsibility now, so you need to pull your head in and just get real and be a mum. So I did that. So it's just that what I really had to do is to master my emotions in this life and to just be human, and knowing that being human is enough,
Yeah. It's absolutely more than relevant. What do we got?
It's been bloody intense the last weeks. Fucking hell, so intense.
Here, let me turn on my my phone just in case there's. Morgan was just reminding me of how you met, and again, you can talk about whatever you want to. I'm not trying to persuade you or dissuade you from anything.
I love her. She's such a goddess. She's really helped me a lot. When I get stuck, she's my go-to woman. She's so wise. And
yes, she is. You and about 500 other people.
Lucky man.
Huh?
You're a lucky man, but she's lucky too.
I am lucky. I'm very lucky. But one thing we're learning in the Ascension is we create our own luck, don't we?
That's true. That's so true.
Yeah, and I think I know, because I know your energy, and because I've talked to Morgan a little bit, pick up on things that really it all does come from the inside. And I keep trying to formulate this question for the David Icke Show, which is, is our ability, the potential of our ability to transform ourselves on an individual level with no thought given to anything outside of us, more powerful than all of these issues out there that are, the big bad wolf. I don't know. What's your thought on that? Have you experienced external manifestation directly related to your internal transformation?
So I've had a few dark nights of the soul, especially the last 8 weeks has been pretty intense.
Yeah. Is that you just the last 8 weeks?
I can, oh, look, it's been crazy. So what I'm thinking is I just had to surrender. I had to surrender everything. And I've been searching outside of myself for my whole life. I've done everything, every religion, every philosophy, read every fucking book. I've been everywhere, every group, every circle, every whatever, and they've all been, relevant, but to bring me back to myself. And it's just been recently that it's really become obvious that all of the answers are within.
Yeah.
And then I've come from a life of people pleasing and putting myself last and, blah, 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 same old story. And only recently I discovered that by loving myself and honouring myself, my mirror, my mirror sort of is reflecting that. So the more love So initially I was loving everyone but me and pleasing everyone but me. So I've just flipped it recently and became very selfish and made myself the priority. And by doing that and loving myself, it's like my life has just taken on a beautiful simplicity, freaking perfection that I couldn't even manifest myself. I suppose I had a sacred union within. So I feel like, my divine masculine and my divine feminine joined. And so I suppose now I feel very whole, and I'm not needy anymore. I mean, I've come from a background of, a life of, addiction, pot addiction, sex addiction. I've had codependency issues. I mean, like everyone, I've got a story, but I don't want to focus on my story today. I just want to say that everything was relevant, and I've taken the gems out of everything, and that have brought me to this realization today that the more I love myself and the more I feel blessed, the more blessings come. And my life is, and I think, we have to thank God for that, because, I was brought up Catholic. And then I got married young and I got divorced. And then after my divorce, I went on this search because I felt a little bit lost, a little bit rejected by the church, and sort of lost God a little bit. And I went on, my journey, and it's taken me everywhere. I think I've been everywhere. And I've only recently reconnected with God, because I think I was connecting with the earth, and I was connecting with the universe and connecting with energy. And you know what? It's all the same. To me, it's all love, it's all God.
Do you think there's a direct relationship to your reconnection with yourself and your connection with God?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think it's one and the same?
I can feel the presence. So, yeah. So basically, so I had a sort of a dark night of the soul, and I felt like I just died, like I totally died. I had to let go of everything.
Was this recently? You said that you had some dark nights the last 8 weeks. Was this recently?
Oh my God, yeah. And there's been continuous. It's just like you go to the heights, they take you to the lows, come back to the middle, and then, you're triggered again. But and it's all relevant. It's like, okay, there's still more stuff to deal with. So just go with it. Just freaking embrace it, neutralize it, whatever it is that we do, sit with it, and then it clears, and then you're in a nice space for a little bit, and then again something comes up and you've got to deal with that. So follow the breadcrumbs, but you have to be very grounded. You have to be very present. You have to be present. And then when you're present and you surrender in that presence, it gives love or God or whatever you want to call it, that opportunity to sort of take you by the hand and lead you down the pathway, to everything that's perfect for me. And I've never, I've been into all the, the roundabouts and all the rabbit holes, and I've been through all of those. So finally it's like, you know what? It's all about me. Everything that's mirrored is about me. So if I can sort me out, I'm going to create a beautiful reality. And this is where I'm sort of at. So I had to sort of remove myself from a dysfunctional relationship. It was a bit narcissistic, but I'm an empath, so I created well there, and I honor him for teaching me so many lessons to step into my own power and to start loving me instead of loving other people more than me. I mean, you can see how it's all perfect. Everything is just so perfect. It's unreal. I mean, you can look back and see it all. I know when you're not sort of there, you sort of question it all, but everything, there's no right, good, bad. Everything we need comes to us when we're in the now, and we just allow it to come, and we don't have to control it. We don't have to go looking for it. We don't have to create anything. It just comes. Everything we need it comes. And I think that's God. That's grace. That's grace working in our lives, after I've surrendered. And I had a massive death, I had a massive death, and then I felt like a rebirth. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm born again. And it was like my personality, my ego, everything was just gone. My attachment to everything was just gone. And I'm like, what the hell? Now what? What do I do?
It's a bit of a strange feeling, isn't it?
It's crazy. I've
you know,
still got to feed my kids, and I've still got to show up for my family, and I've still got to pay the bills and mow the lawn and do all of that stuff. However, something shifted, and then magic sort of starts to happen. Just allowing it all to just, just to be. All you have to do is show up. So just show up for myself, loving myself fully, and then things start to happen. So about 8 weeks ago, I was just on Facebook, and I connected with a man who's lives in Florida on the other side of the world. And
this is about to get juicy, I think.
Oh, God. Anyway, so I just broken up with my boyfriend. So, and I wasn't looking for anything. It's like, I just need to chill. I need some alone time, just some space to just gather, anyway, it just happened, and we connected, and we talk every day, and our relationship has just grown. And intensity, a lot of the intensities come from this relationship, because, oh my God, talk about pressure to step up and be real. And I mean, he's my mirror. And, so I've had to, he was the build up to this sort of dark night of the soul, where I'm like, really? I'm in sacred union with this guy who lives like 9,000 kilometers away. He's coming to Australia. And I'm like, really? It's not real. Is it real? And I started to just question it all. And anyway, that's when I sort of had a big meltdown, because, is it real? I mean, it feels real, but he's not here. He's, the other side of the world. So we're hoping to get him here. And there's a lot of, I have to have faith that it's meant to be, because I've been following the breadcrumbs. And if it's meant to be, I mean, if I go into my head too much with it, it sounds all a bit, oh yeah, I've met my, my sacred whatever, and we're in a sacred union, and we're going to get together, and we're going to create all these amazing things. It sounds a bit, a bit out there, but the reality of it is, the amount of love that I felt for myself, I must have projected that out, and he's shown up.
Obviously.
Hence,
which includes, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, a young lady, and she met somebody. She was in the same boat, which I've actually heard this from many, many people. Like, actually, I was in this boat. Morgan was in this boat, which we just said, I'm not doing it again. I'm not even going to think about it. I don't even want to be with anybody. So that's what happened to her. Same thing happened to you. Same thing happened to us. But then she said to me, because she had mentioned it to me, and she'd actually said to me, I was, she's very quiet and reserved, with her, personal things. And she said, I was thinking about, calling Morgan up and talking to her about this, because I met this guy. And so I said, oh, well, if you feel like you should, I'm sure she'll talk to you. And so, then I touched her about a week or 10 days later, and so we were talking about some other stuff, and I just said, hey, what's going on? You got a boyfriend? And she said, I don't know what's going on, but she said, why did you know? She said to me, did you know that like, I love being with him. We've met each other. We've, come together. We have he's working on this. I'm working on that. It's all like a big fit. And she says, but did you know it brings up all this other stuff? Like, all this stuff from my past is coming up. And I said, yeah. She goes, is that part of this? I said, yeah, that's part of it. That's exactly part of it,
Wow.
Which you're finding out.
Because it's been 8 weeks. So weekend just passed. Because I said to him, I don't know if I can do the whole long distance relationship. I need you here, and so initially it was a bit hard, but over the weeks, like we Zoom, we FaceTime every day, and the time difference is a biggie, so whenever we can, we connect, and we read to one another, and we share with each other, and we do a lot of intense work. And the other day we were just, I said, we can watch movies together. How awesome is that, George? We can watch movies together. So I said, we arranged it all. So we were watching Netflix. We were watching, the Outlander together. I said, oh, really?
Yeah,
But I'd like to watch it with you, George. So
that'll do
he's,
it.
he's on my phone. I'm lying on my bed and we're watching Netflix together. And it's like, what the hell? It's like you're here. It's like you're here. I can feel your energy. It's like you're here, even though you're like miles away, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like what initially was what I thought was going to be a problem. And because of COVID too, it's like, well, when the bloody hell are you going to get here? You could be here like in 6 months, in 12 months. What am I supposed to do? Just wait for you to show up, you know? So we've been, you know, if I'm out gardening, I'll bring the phone. He knows what I'm doing. You know, he speaks to my children. He's met my mum. You know, I'm building a garden at the moment, and you know, every morning I'll go out and show him how the garden's going. So it's really bizarre. So he's really with me on my phone, but so it's working okay. We just got to get him to Australia as soon as as soon as he can travel. That's the plan. We're going to jump in. I mean, I've got 3 teenage children, so I can't really travel. And George's children have all grown up. So he's you should bring him on, Todd. I'm pretty sure he'd be listening to this.
Right now? You want me to bring him on now?
You want to?
Just send him that link. Forward that link. Oh, I don't have, I could try to send it to him, but if I'm not his friend, it'd probably go to his.
I think you are his friend.
I am? Okay, hang on. So keep talking. I had something in my head. Oh, about the, because I understand, obviously. Let me just say this and then I'll send it to him. I understand because we were 17 months apart and we merged the first night. Like, you know, everybody knows the story, 3:33 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so, all right. And so, you know, I understand, like, because I remember telling her 3-4 months into it, look, I don't know what the hell this is, but I'm willing to make a commitment to you. Like, just like be my girlfriend or something, you know? And she's like, no, why? You know? And I have to add too, she wouldn't video with me until 16 months and 2 weeks before she came, the 2 weeks before she came to America. And when she called me, I was so shocked I started bawling. But anyway, what I was going to say is, so I understand what you were talking about when you're watching the movie or you're doing whatever, and he's right there with you. And I think that's a big, big part of you know, what we're coming into collectively in order to give us a better understanding. And this is just one example, but a better understanding that we're energy and that we're boundless, basically. I'm going to send this to him.
Not George, Todd, but you know what? Like this, like attracting George into my life, that's only like a part of it. It's like everything else that's coming as well. We are connecting on an energetic level. We really are. We're being drawn together. You know, I'll be listening to your call and names will jump out and I'll feel such resonance, you know, such an energy, such an attraction there. And it's like, wow, it just feels like we're really tuning in with our energy frequency and we're really we're coming together. You know, it's so beautiful.
Right on. So have you I'm trying to find it. I must have sent it to you a different way, or I must have sent it to you on email. Have you experienced any type of yeah, we're going to bring George on. I just got to get it together.
Okay.
Have you experienced any kind of merging, energetic, etherical merging, Helios Gamos, anything like that?
Maybe George should, I don't know. We've definitely tuned into each other. Okay. I can feel him and he can feel me. Unlike you and Morgan, we were sort of pretty quick to jump into things, and I think well, that's a whole other story, but probably not a good thing, because I think the distance being so far away has actually been a blessing. Where you don't sort of jump into bed with someone and then you sort of.
It is.
So, you know, because we haven't come together in the physical, we've really had a chance to merge on every other level, you know, on a spiritual level, mental level, emotional level. So really, whenever he shows up, we just have to connect in the physical and then, you know, whatever, you know.
Okay. I got him. I'm sorry. I got excited because I guess he sent me a note and I'm going to send him a friend request, but I'm sending him the thing now. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. So it's been interesting. Thank God for FaceTime. But I did say to him the other day, what if the internet goes down? It's like you'll just disappear as quickly as you popped up,
Weird.
Yeah, it's
But now you
it's
were saying that, okay, because I didn't want to miss this. I'm trying to do two things at one time. Boom, I got it. So George, go check your messages. It should be in your message request, or if you, oh, you got it. So the thing about the separation, like that was a huge, that was the foundation of our relationship. It wasn't,
yeah.
the separation meaning that we had to connect, etherically, and because she had downloaded this stuff and she had a head start, she wouldn't do the video and she wouldn't even send me pictures, which just accentuated and enhanced
That's
the etherical connection. So I think that what you're saying is true. And I also would tell you this, just from my 2 cents, even when she came over the first time for 10 weeks, we slept together, but my shorts stayed on, and we did not have, that type of intimacy. And again, I got to say, even though it caused me a lot of pain and frustration, and I acted out a few times, maybe 10 or 20 or 50, I don't know. But I wouldn't change a thing. It's been a no, even now with the sacred sexuality that we experience. It's not about frequency. Frequency is in terms of like how often. It's just at a pace where there is no linear time, and I think that's another thing that it taught me being apart, because then I didn't have the pressure of linear time. Here's George. Hey, George. Nice to meet you. What's happening?
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, you guys are brave for coming on here. That's all I got to say.
Hey, we were told to. Hello. We were told not to. So we are brave. No fear. No fear.
You were told not to. Who told you not to?
I'll talk to you about that later.
Oh, I got you. Is it a person?
It was a sisterhood.
A what?
A sisterhood. I'll talk to you about that later.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Ephraim, but I don't want to. No, I'm kidding.
It's just fear-based. A lot of it's all fear-based. I mean, love's all powerful. Nothing can take down love. Love is God. It's like, you know what? You want to have a shot? Here I am. I'm showing up. I'm brave.
Well, there's a lot to be said for that. The universe loves a brave soul, right? So, George, how did this go down for you? I mean, you were just surfing on the net, and this hot chick walked by, and then who busted the move? He
did.
No, I don't think. I think she did. She did. She friended me. And I just, whenever someone friends me these days, I always write a paragraph, to collaborate from a higher, perspective, cultivate consciousness with each other. So,
wow.
I'm very particular about who my friends are. And I probably have to go back and sort them all out, because I've accumulated a lot without really, paying attention to who they are until now. But so then we were just following our bliss, and I was posting on a feed, and she pops up in the feed. I didn't even pay attention to the feed until she friended me, and I went back and looked, and there she was following her bliss bubble. And ever since, we've just been following the mystery and the breadcrumbs and letting it unfold.
Wow. That's pretty trippy. I mean, it's the truth of what's happening to so many people. I'm looking at your hat, and I'm looking at your energy, and I'm listening to your words. You obviously are plugged in and have been plugged in for a while, and you're in with both feet. I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
And for you to have the energetic aptitude to be in this situation with Pauline, you had to been doing your work. Did you have that experience? Did you have dark nights of the soul? Did you have?
Yeah, I've had more, like Pauline said, more since she showed up. But it's been pretty intense. It's been all out, like, war in the last, I'd say not
What
war,
is it?
war
Wait,
against myself, you know.
for how long? For the last what? How long?
Actually, for the last 4 weeks, it's been really intense.
Okay.
For the
This
last
is
4 weeks.
okay. So this is where I want to go. This is great. This is like
Hey,
pure intel. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going along with it because I know it's what God wants. It's what's for the highest good. But I'm kicking and screaming. I'm not ready. I'm like, hold on a sec. This is all too fast. No. Nearly pull the pin on it. A few times I've nearly pulled the pin. This is just so intense, you know. But deep in my heart, I know that I love George with all, you know, I just love him. We finish each other's sentences. We just all my interests are his interests. I mean, you know, I've been putting it out for years to find my soulmate, but I've been asking for all the wrong stuff, you know, in all honesty. And then God, you know, George just showed up and he's freaking perfect. You know, he doesn't just tick the boxes. He ticks boxes that I didn't even know I had, you know, it's just perfect. And, you know, there's no...
That's the sacred sexuality vibration. When you start ticking boxes she doesn't know she has. I'm kidding. I want to cover something. I want both of you guys, if you will give us some input, because everyone knows that there's so much distortion with so many different terms, even including ascension. But you know, one of those is twin flames, and so there's this, you know, and I think it's fading to a degree, but because of people like you coming on shows like this. And so there's this misconception that, oh, I met that person, now everything's great and I don't have to worry about anything. And it's not that way. So here's two people that have been 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks connected, recognizing the connection. Both of you have stated that over the last few weeks you've had dark nights of the soul, yet you're both still sitting here loving each other and smiling, just so people can kind of get an idea of how does that work. You know, this obviously isn't a codependent frequency. I'm going to manipulate you emotionally, then you're going to come back and give me flowers, and then this is something different. So you're both going through the stuff. Do you go through it together?
Yeah.
Do you go through it separately, regardless of which one it is, or both? How does that work? And what's it like when you come back together? And whatever you guys can add, whoever wants to go first.
You know what? We do it together, and then I sort of pull back and go and do my own stuff and come back to the table. We sort of look at it as unpacking the suitcase. So whatever shows up in front of us, and you know what, we're honest. We have to be totally honest. And there's been, you know, exes. We've had the conversation, and you know, we know each other very on a deep level. But it's about honesty. It's like, well, I'm feeling this, and you've just triggered me, and then, you know, we'll talk together, or sometimes we have some time apart, we come back, and you know what, it doesn't matter how big it is. Like, there's been some really major things, and I'm like, okay, this is it, we're not going to come back from this. And yet every time you come back, and then you feel the connection, and you solve the issue, and it's better than it was previously. So that's been our motivation, to sort of keep going, because the more we do, the more we unpack, the more we hear within ourselves, the more we can bring to our relationship and to each other. And then, so what do you reckon, George? You share your perspective.
Well, Todd, I didn't know I was going to be on here, but I just really ended a soul contract with Pauline this morning for this life. And it was to rid ourselves of the shadow of codependency. And so it's interesting, because I didn't know, like, I know how much I love myself, you know, and I know how much, you know, she loves me, but and I know that there's something that we're going to be, you know, that's higher than I even can understand, that we're working toward in this lifetime. And I just have to really surrender. You know, I just have to surrender almost in every moment when it comes, you know, into the heart, you know, because, you know, the heart and the mind, you know, when they're in a line, it's like you have this knowing, but the knowing is that you have to allow the discomfort to be, and feel into it, and just allow it to be, and dissolve, and be embraced by the love that we share.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk, especially now this year, you know, talk of the, from an energetic standpoint, the energy of divine feminine and divine masculine conceiving the golden child, which projected to be born in December. It's been said many different ways, but there's also been a lot of talk since I came on about the feminine, the divine feminine, and the divine masculine. One of the things that I see out there is I see it both distorted genders in a man or a woman.
Yeah.
And I see and have experienced very recently the divine feminine within myself, my own divine feminine, and so you've got those dynamics out there, but in the process of the relationship and as it evolves, there does seem to be something like when Pauline came on at the top of the show. She said, I started to choose myself. And I was listening to her and it was clicking in my head. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the divine feminine energetic force in all of us was shut down and started to choose itself. Now, on the other hand, you had a distorted masculine that was unconsciously choosing itself at a 3D level, let's just put it that way, without understanding or empathizing or even having the wherewithal to even be able to see something like that. You know what I mean? Because of what role they were playing. Have you seen that dance or that evolution or that transformation in the 8 weeks y'all been together? Have you seen the distorted feminine, distorted masculine aspects transforming into the divine genders within yourselves?
Oh, for sure. For sure. And you know what? Oh, we've gone through so much together. I don't know what to share and what not to share. But, we use our previous relationships. We can talk about them and go in and see where, there's what they've shown up and they taught us exactly what we needed to see within ourselves. So we've come to the point where we've sort of analysed it all and we've learnt this from that, and we love you. Thank you for showing up. And, along the line, there's only been, I was with my ex-partner for 27 years. So I've just had like 3 major relationships. And they all taught me so much about myself. So now it feels like I've brought everything to the table. I've sort of got a bigger understanding of how this works. And it's like everything flips. So it's like, okay, well, I was needy and codependent, so such and such showed up. And, this and that, so such and such shows up. So everything that shows up for us is exactly what we need. So until we can acknowledge that and heal that, we're going to keep attracting the same frequency, because that's what we're putting out for. Yeah. You get to the point where it's like, you know what? I'm not codependent anymore. I'm not an addict anymore. I'm not, I don't need any of this anymore. You know what? I'm just going to be me. And in that power where you're not coming from need, someone just pops up. And you know what? The more I love myself, it was just so easy. That's the main thing. Loving myself, putting myself first, because I'm not coming from need then. Now I want to share with someone, but I'm whole. I feel whole within myself. So I want to share I want someone to play with. I want someone to do fun stuff with and go on adventures and help me with my garden and have meals together and just share together. But it's not coming from a place of lack or need. It's coming from a place of,
choosing you.
Sharing. I just want to share my life with someone now that I'm not coming from a place of need anymore, and it's beautiful. And we pull each other up all the time. I'll say to you, George, don't be needy, please. Go on. Yesterday I said to him, I'm a ball breaker, but it's feel high is good. And
that's how it works, man.
I'm to you what you need to go and have a chat. You need to go and sit on your own and sort this out, because I'm just reflecting to you what you need to sort out what you need for you. And knowing that mirror, it's just a beautiful formula for where you're at. So if if you need to do something, it's going to show up in your mirror. So you just deal with it. And this is the way the relationship is built, just by dealing with whatever shows up. And you don't have to go looking for it. It's in your face. So just do the work.
I want to go back to George on this one. This is great. Thanks for that lead in. And she said she was the ball buster, but that seems to be how these relationships work, because the patriarchal imprint did one thing to the female gender most of the time, and to the male gender most of the time. It was in line with their physical gender. Now, what I'm trying to say is that on the female side, you've got, they kind of know what needs to happen. And on the male side, as you jump into it, there was so much programming. Like, for instance, if I look at my situation, and I had the same type of background y'all did, I stayed in the situation. Because that's what a man does, right? I didn't choose myself, right? The day I left is the day I chose myself, and my feminine started to rise. But I guess what I'm trying to say to George, or ask George, is in terms of, have you been on a fast track the last 8 weeks? Have you had to surrender? You mentioned that earlier, but have you found yourself surrendering to the feminine energy, both in your mirror and in yourself? And what other revelations or epiphanies have come? Because I can see already that we hit pay dirt here. Go ahead.
All right. So 2 weeks ago, Pauline maybe made a joke about it, but she said, you know what? You need to step up or step aside, and basically from that point on, I've been cleaning my room, getting ready to buy a plane ticket, get a passport, get a whatever, learn how to teleport. It's just been a nonstop. And I tell you, there's been some really, really intense moments that were really high.
Yeah.
That you felt like you were right there with each other. I mean, like you were so connected. And then there was moments when you felt like you were so far away.
Yeah.
You felt like you were so far away. And then that's when you feel into like the shadow aspects, and you get a little bit codependent, and then you find out, then that's when you're like, that's when the ball breaker steps in,
Yeah.
Then it's like, look, dude, you need to go work out. You need to start drinking smoothies. But this is me talking to me, right?
Yeah.
Because this is the ultimate method to develop a deeper self-love. Like, I need to love myself so much that it actually helps her to love herself that much more. Yeah. And so that perfect reflection is like, step up, step up, step up, step up, step up, or step aside.
Yeah.
You need to put yourself first. You need to put yourself first before the relationship. And if you're honoring yourself in that way and loving yourself, it's just perfection, because you're not going to see anything in the mirror that you don't want to see. It's all done, So hopefully we'll get to the end of, it's only been 8 weeks, Todd. So,
I know
so much in just 8 weeks.
Believe me, I know. I can totally relate to this. I'm telling you right now. I can tell you. I can give you specific dates in the first 3 months of dates of coming together. Obviously, I can give you a date of separation energetically, a period of separation. I remember when it happened right before Christmas. I remember when it reopened. It's weird because it's like when it comes to these points on the journey, I have like a photographic memory, and there's got to be a reason for that. So I get where you guys are coming from, no doubt. Let me ask you about this. I'm not trying to be funny, so let me finish this up. Sacred sexuality. Now I'm talking about an energy. I'm talking about from the perspective of the female, from the perspective of the male. It took me a long time to really understand and put all this stuff together, and it's just now happening. But when I met Morgan, obviously there was something that had come up in me like that had never come before. And I was a very sexual person. And I mean that in my work. I don't just mean that in the bedroom. You know what I mean? And so I only knew one way to express that and deal with that. And, obviously if she's not sending me photographs and she's not going to get on video with me for 17 months, she let me know. Don't come at me with this. Now, granted, she is who she is. This is her specifics. So she knew not to go there. And I used to ask her, well, what the hell are we supposed to do? She goes, I don't know what we're supposed to do, but I know what we're not supposed to do. So to your point earlier about, you know, the not rushing and all that, I guess what I'm trying to say is, have you in 8 weeks seen the light, or seen the trajectory, or the other path, or the alternative to what we've looked at in terms of conventional sexual nature and expressions, and you know, what we're supposed to do and think we're supposed to do and all that? Have y'all seen
Yeah.
anything like that? Anything coming to light?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
I think that I know with me, I suppose I've been really loving myself to the full extent of that word. The more I love myself, I don't know if I want to go there.
Yeah, you can. You don't have to say anything you don't want to say. Don't just
No,
you
no,
do
I'm
what
just
you.
saying that, you know, oh, it's just my touch feels different on my skin.
Yeah.
My senses are just so intense and so heightened. So everything's just heightened. So obviously, you know, there's a bit of sexual tension here because you're so far away. I'm very sexual. Very sexual. So, and I've got to keep that in mind, you know, having sort of previously maybe felt like there was some sort of addiction to sex, you know. So I've been very aware, and I sometimes have to pull up and say, hey, we're not going to do that for a while because that's distorted. We have to sort of keep this pure on some level. But you know what? After we have a bit of fun and we might play, and then it's like, you know what? That felt good. It's a bit lighthearted, which takes the takes the pressure off all the intensity because we're doing such deep work. And sometimes, like, you know what? Let's just watch a movie, or let's just go for a walk, or let's just, you know, let's run a bath or something, you know. Anyway, it's all good.
If Morgan had done that, I wouldn't be here today. I would have fallen off the banana boat.
Breaker. Let me tell you, she's a real ball breaker. But you know what, Todd? She was your married darling, so you needed it.
I absolutely needed it. I mean, I was a sexual animal, you know. So I mean, I had a lot of sexual trauma and all that stuff. So no, it's like you said earlier at the top of the show. Everything is exactly, as you look back, everything's exactly what. You know what I mean? Now I got to ask Paul, because he's had this big shit-eating grin on his face, shift-eating grin on his face. So, like, have you noticed though, like, you know, when they talk about the masculine and the feminine, or let's say that, because to me they're all four together, the distorted masculine, or the human masculine, human feminine, and so on. That the masculine is in the lower chakras. The feminine is in the higher chakras, and we're meeting in the heart. That's kind of how I visualize it. And one of the things that I've had a lot of discussions with men, okay, like have come to me and said, hey, dude, you know, what's this stuff about you weren't celibate and y'all were celibate when you're together? And, you know, and my wife's been listening to Morgan, and, you know, I'm not into this. What the hell's going on? And I'm like, dude, you need to understand something. You have no idea what lies on the other side of this threshold. And I didn't either. And I still don't. I'm in kindergarten. But there is something that is so huge on the other side of it that, just to give you an example, there'll be times when we'll lay down and do our commune at night. I might reach over, we might start kissing like teenagers. And within 8 or 10 minutes, we got to get away from each other because there's so much energy going through our bodies, you know? But so anyway, Paul, I mean, have you noticed this? Because I think it's a really important subject, obviously for males and females, but the men, you know, we know the women have been leading the way, and the men, I think, have a pretty big challenge here in getting away from those patterns and behaviors that we thought were the only way.
Yeah, you know, Todd, I actually about 4 years ago had an astrology reading, and I was talking to the astrology reader that I said, you know what, I'm just sort of tired of the sexual like relationship, like the wham bam, thank you. Like I'm actually a very passionate and romantic guy. And I've just never met a woman that was, you know, no inhibitions, you know, a lot of sensuality. And, you know, now, you know, we're all looking at it right now, but, you know, I'm 9,127 miles away but you feel like you're so close. And that's the wild thing. It's like just following these breadcrumbs to get to this moment 8 weeks in, and feeling the intensity of the connection. It is just like, we just like want to make sure we respect the initial physical touch with, like, making it like as sacred as possible, with all the rose petals, the incense, the candles. We don't just want to jump each other's bones. So, for me, I think that I approach, my go at the divine feminine aspect is I'm sort of coming from the top down, instead of coming from the bottom up. I feel like I'm more feminine than I am masculine,
Yeah.
and so I'm balancing that out.
I think I think we flipped, Todd. You know how you described you and Morgan. We're the opposite, because
I can see that.
George has got a lot of feminine energy, and I've got a lot of masculine energy. So I'm the one with the I think with the sex drive and with the. However, I am still very connected with my fire as well. So because I'm balanced. And, that's fire and that passion, that's creative energy. I've been digging holes and planting gardens and painting and renovating my house. I've got all this energy, So in a way, what I've discovered is it doesn't have to be sexual. When the energy comes up, it's like, what the hell do I want to create? And, and I can put it towards my garden, or put it towards a project, or exercising, or, it's just when it comes up, you just use it. You can express that in every way. It doesn't have to be sexual. It's just creator energy.
I can relate to that. Yeah, I can totally relate to that. And I can also relate to what you said about the mix that you have, right? Because obviously I've done shows with lots of couples, and we've met lots of couples, and it's always been, I've told Morgan many times, it's always so interesting to see, because we can be looking at a couple and I can see myself in her, but I can see myself in him, and Morgan, and what I mean? So it's interesting. Yeah, there's not, I guess the couples, and again, we're talking about an energy that doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic connection. It can be brothers like Israel and Michael Mejia. It can be in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because none of those combinations are like any other. Just like none of us, we're all unique in and of ourselves. Nobody's just like us. There's always, as Franco says, one number added on the end of the soul signature that makes you different than everybody else. So I guess the same works for the couples. But that's cool that you guys can see that.
Hey, Tom, something funny?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's just gone. Oh, fuck, that was a good one too. Oh my God, I can't remember.
Just interrupt me next time. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't interrupt you.
It'll come back.
Say, my history has been with bad boys. I'm very attracted to bad guys. It's obviously what I needed to experience, And I had a problem with George initially, because I'm like, you know what? I don't do nice guys. They just drive me crazy. They're too fucking nice. Just going to put them on a pedestal, and whatever you want, sweetheart. I need the challenge. I need a man with balls. I need a man with
this is fucking gold, man. This is fucking gold.
Anyway, and you know what? I'm bringing out his bad side, but in a
Right.
good way.
You wait till I get over there, woman.
Yeah, don't say that. I said that, and I was like a limp noodle.
What did you say?
Right? Believe me, you can't. Don't fuck with Mother Nature, man. No, you're bringing up a really good point. You really are. You're bringing up a really, really good point in regard to what you were just saying about your perception. I was going to make a joke and said, Morgan always was looking for a good boy, and she found me, but that wasn't the case. But anyway, so what you brought up is a really good point, because here we go again with our absolute that we validate or try to validate, rationalize, and substantiate, which, like in this case, because I've heard somebody else say this, I need a man who's got balls. I need a man of this, and I need a man of that. I'm telling you right now, I have experienced, and I'm looking at more obvious with Morgan, I've experienced her masculine full blown. I've experienced her feminine, obviously full blown, and everything in between. There's so many pixels of this, this blossoming expression that's a mirror of yourself. So I think that's a really good point, because here's my take on it, right? Like he said is accurate. I told him, be careful what you say, because the universe will slap you in your face. It did it to me. But the fact is, whatever that is that you think it is, that you gave up, right? What y'all were talking about, surrender. You gave up. I'm giving up the bad boy. I guarantee you that George will blow all that away. He'll make bad look like it was nothing. You know what I mean?
I was never really a romantic kind of a girl, and oh my God, he's bringing out the romance in me, and he'll like read to me, and he'll play the flute for me, and he'll do all sorts. He wants to cook for me. It's like, oh my God, this guy's just perfect, It's crazy. So he's bringing out the romantic in me, and I'm bringing out the bad boy in him. So it's a lovely little dance that we're playing with.
Right.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Todd, talk about getting, stepping up. I decided to clean out my closets, and I'm, one of the things I got into several years ago was Kundalini yoga. And I was like, you know what? I'm not a Kundalini yogi anymore. Like, that was a tool that I used. And I took 5 bags and a box of books to the yoga studio today on my way home from work, So I'm getting ready, Pauline. I'm getting ready.
So let me just clarify something. And I didn't finish it. And I didn't finish it because I didn't want to go there because it might be too personal. But what I was trying to say about George and what your conception of what you think you wanted or had to have, this is about the surrender thing. You surrender it and you end up getting more than you think. So if I look at Morgan, and I know this, okay, I've seen Morgan, like I knew even from the beginning, she was very well put together. She was prim and proper, but I knew beneath her there was a smoldering like nothing I'd never seen. And I have experienced it. And I've had to step away from that fire because it's mind blowing. So, all I'm trying to say is that sometimes it's so many times in the ascension for me, what you're looking for is right in front of your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that, the same applies here. Because I actually am probably becoming prim and proper.
There's a lovely, isn't there? A lovely synergy. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. We
Todd,
one another. We complement
What's that?
each.
Yeah. There's a lag. Go ahead.
I mean, and the thing is, Todd, there's been so many synchronicities. I call them sinky dinks. That's why I started calling them sinky dinks, because it's like there's so many, you just sort of give up and just let them be there, and you start sharing them. It's like, but you don't need validation that the mystery's unfolding perfectly.
Yeah.
You just keep showing up moment by moment by moment in the NOW, it's the precious present moment,
That's where all the gifts are. The gifts are in the now. So you got to be there, show up for yourself, and then just wait. Just watch what shows up for you, and oh my God, it's just amazing what shows up. It's incredible.
Yeah. And also too, I think and I'm not saying that one's better than the other at all, because if you can be talking about 2 people that have come together, or you could be talking about somebody who has a certain modality or a certain level of dark night of the soul or whatever. But if, like in our case, this occurred 5 years ago, it began, as opposed to somebody coming together now. There's a lot of energetic barriers that have been broken down. Okay. Which means a lot of things. It means we learn faster. Like I'm listening to you guys talking about, because I can tell you really understand the shadow aspect that this type of connection brings to the surface. And for you to be this calm, cool, and collected, raw, and being this open after 8 weeks of this type of intensity, I don't think that could have been accomplished 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I mean, I don't think there was enough collective expansion in the consciousness at that point. But it doesn't take anything away. In fact, it's extremely encouraging because I can see the speed of development. And as the individuals go, so goes the collective. So this to
Right.
me is a fantastic sign.
Todd, last week I went through the eye of the needle. It felt like I went through the eye of the needle. I had to get rid of everything. I had to just drop everything, all my beliefs, everything that I had an attachment to, astrology, the gene keys, everything that's brought me to this point that I still hold, that I had an attachment to, all had to go. So I had this like a death experience, and I'm like, now what? You know, I had nothing. It was like I was free falling and I had nothing to hold on to. It's like, where the frick am I going to end up? What's all this about, you know? And then I sat with it for a few days, and then I thought, you know what? I just got to be present. What's in front of me? I've got children, I've got a home, I've got a garden, I've got a dog. You know, it's like, let's keep it real. It's all really simple. You know, we don't have to go on some mission or, you know, get the whole, what I know for me, I'm not meant to be freaking out there writing books or teaching this shit. I'm just doing it for me. I'm doing it for me. And then it's affecting, well, George has come into my life. My children have got a relationship with George, and I mean, he's 9,000 miles away. It's affecting the dynamics in my family. You know, my friends adore George. You know, every time I've tried to pull the pin, my friends are like, are you freaking crazy? Do you realize what you and him have? And I'm like, oh, fuck, really? I'm going to go back, you know? And it's like, you know what? We've already got this community of support and friends around us and family. And, you know, you can't deny this shit. You can't deny it. It's like, well, this can't be wrong. It feels so right. How can it be wrong? And you just got to show up and just be present and just one day at a time, you know, and just whatever, you know, and we'll just keep taking it day by day until he finally gets here. We could be in 1 month, could be in 5 months, it could be in 1 year.
That's right.
Like, what? Whatever happens, happens. It's all good. We're following our bliss bubbles. So, and we are.
Yeah, that's true.
Of bliss for everybody. It's not just this is not just about George and I. This love is affecting everybody, and this is what it's about. So, and all we had to do is show up for ourselves and then for each other. It's beautiful. It's too easy. You know, it really is too easy, but it's taken me like nearly 50 whatever odd years to figure it out. So it's not that easy. But once you do figure it out, it's like, oh my God, you don't have to do anything. You just have to be. Just be you. Be yourself. Stop trying to be better or, you know, stop, you know, even the wounding and everything. It's like, you know what? It gets you all to a point where it's like, you know what? I'm done. And that's what happened to me last week. I said, I'm done with everything. I'm just so fucking done. I'm just going to be myself. I'm going to go and plant a garden. And I've just thrown myself into this garden, digging holes and you know what? When I'm out in nature, oh my God. And, you know, the birds are singing and the flowers are blooming. And hey, Todd, you should see my jacaranda tree. I know you're into jacaranda trees. I have got the most beautiful jacaranda tree. And at the moment, I've just got a mauve of bliss all over my lawn. I don't even want to mow my lawn because there's just mauve petals, flowers all over my front yard. And I'm like, oh my God, am I in heaven? Just freaking pinch me, you know?
You know, the whole thing is like whether you're talking about what we would consider intimacy or you're talking about the interaction in a relationship, it's a totally different situation than where we all came from. Like it's literally like I've always heard, you know, from the beginning when I rewoke, whatever you do, you can't do what's been done before. And that's been that's applied to this relationship at every turn. At every single turn, in fact, some of the things that you come into awareness of and apply, I wouldn't have even thought of. I wouldn't have even thought of it. You know, like, oh, this will work. Oh, we got out of balance, and you want to sit in front of each other and stare into each other's eyes, and it worked. And it works. You know.
Everyone's got a freaking story. Let's just get out of the stories. Let's get over the stories. Let's just be present for one another. You know, let's create a new story. You know, let's create the mystery ourselves, you know.
There you go.
We're that powerful. We can do that. We can create the life of our dreams. We just got to let go of the story, let go of the narrative, let go of all the suffering and everything else. And let's just, you know, where you focus your attention, that's what you're going to create. So, you know, what's everyone focused on? If you're focused on love, that's what you're going to create in your life, you know, and That's what this is all about. It's all about love.
Yeah, that's right. And it's just another one of, I would think, several at a minimum ways that you can actually see with evidence the new path, the new trajectory. You know, androgyny has been huge in the last few weeks, and then that's very interesting that you guys have been having this all occur while this period's been happening. You probably heard me talking about the Sedona trip, and you know, we're talking about situations here that are changing, that are being literally turned on the top of their head, such as, you know, laying next to Morgan, watching her masculine light body appear above her body, my feminine appear above my body, watching them cosmically copulate, sending the sensations, you know, into the body, you know, and then the telepathy, whether it's reviewing what happened that night or anything else like that. Like the next morning we got up, she goes, "Oh, you know what happened last night?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know what happened last night." She said, "You know, you know," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know you did. You know, like I had a yoni, and yeah, you had a lingam, and you know, but so how would you even think of something like that?"
Oh God.
Yeah, this is. I think. I guess what I'm trying to say is that this is like the shadows coming up, you know, or like the material, the
You know,
alchemic material, and then after these, like you said earlier, when you guys come back together, it's much better. But isn't it more than that? Isn't there like new code, new information? You know, higher elevation. You can even see more shadows. I mean,
Todd,
yeah.
you know, love is love. Love is love. Like you know, I've had moments in my past where, you know, I could have gone the other way. I mean, I've got you know, I've been attracted to other women. I'm a bit of a chick magnet too. It's like sometimes I think, what the hell, you know? But you know what? What they can sense of is the love that's within. And it doesn't have to be sexual. I've never actually gone there. So I wouldn't know, but I have felt attraction towards other women. And I know other women, I can feel their attraction towards me as well, you know. But you know what? This is beyond the sexes. This is about love. So whichever way you want to express your love,
True.
is freaking valid, because it's all about love, and it's all, you know, love is all there is, you know. Why limit yourself? If you find love with the same sex, opposite sex, with a dog, with a tree, I mean, it doesn't matter where you find love. Just be it. Just do it. You know, if that's what makes you happy, that's what makes you feel like you're alive. Just be love, mate. That's all. That's the message. That's all it's about, love.
George, you got your hands full. I can't help but looking at George. Do you play basketball?
No,
I was going to say,
I can't jump here.
I'm looking. Well, I keep looking at you, and I keep seeing Woody Harrelson and White Man Can't Jump with the hat backwards.
You know, Paul. I mean, Todd. I'm trying to call you Paul. Todd.
Did I call you Paul? Jesus Christ! That's what happens. That's what happens to your 3D memory. How embarrassing.
I've been called Woody Harrelson. I actually went into a shoe store one time, and someone said, "I know you from somewhere. You ever watch Cheers back in the day?" And I just let them believe that I was Woody Harrelson, and basically walked out. But I was called Woody for 20 years.
Wow.
But anyway, there was something else I was going to say. I forget what it is. The love just took it out.
So, yeah, this is cool. This is very cool. So you guys are kind of reduced the pressure of when you're coming together. You've accepted it, and you're just going to pull the trigger at first notice, right?
Yeah, I mean, really, that's the way, you know, just doing the things that are in front of me to create the space for it to unfold with magic, you know, and it'll happen. It'll happen.
Have you guys had like mutual dimensional experiences, you know, or, you know, like, I guess some of this could be, everyone's got different clairs. So I guess every couple would have a different clair. I don't know. Like, have you had experiences where like, man, you know, or a lucid dream or just anything like that?
You know what, Todd? Let's put it this way. He knows where my hand is.
Yeah.
And, you know, he can feel me. He can, and I can him too. So I don't know which Claire that is, but it's pretty freaking awesome.
It's pretty fucking sexy is what it is.
It's so powerful. It's so powerful how intense this relationship could be, and we're not in each other's presence. On an energies. Oh, how can I describe it? It's hard to even put it in words. But the physical's got nothing on what you can do on an energetic
Hello. Level. Yes, that's what I was trying to not that, you know, there's a right or wrong answer, but this is what I feel, which is my opinion. This is what I feel that the men, and I mean that, you know, like the vast majority, because there are exceptions, that the men don't get. So like I fought it. I didn't, it's not that I didn't accept it and understand it, but I wanted, my hold with the old intimacy was really strong, you know, and I was a good boy. And I mean, I worked with it and so on. And then you start to have experiences where the two merge. Holy guacamole. I mean, like, whoa, like that's just mind blowing. And the other thing about what you're talking about with the energetic part, whether we were physically, that was happening physically and non-physically at the same time, or we were still apart, the impression of it would last and last and last. Like you were talking about earlier, sometimes you guys might play a little bit and then you're like, okay, well, that was fun. But, and then it's like, there's nothing left, right? You know what I mean? It's like the old sex. I mean, like, so you have an orgasm and boom, you put your clothes on, you go out the door and get a peanut butter sandwich. This physical, you know, merging, this helioscamos, whatever you want to call it, it has a lasting impression. And I know from the first time I met Morgan, September the 3rd of 2015, we merged. That shit stayed with me. In fact, it never left. Never fucking left, man. It was like, that's it. You know, you're
back. There's no turning back. And this is what pushes us forward, you know. You can't turn back. It's like we're on the road, whether we, you know, like I said, there's been times when I've been dragged kicking and screaming, but the reality of it is, this is the mystery. It's so bloody beautiful and you can't deny it. You got to go. You just got to go with it, you know, and trust it. And, you know, I saw a video of Greg Prescott when he went to the airport and he met his, you know, I forget what her name was, for the first time.
Allison.
Wow. And I'm like, oh my God, I felt right into it. And I'm like, oh, this is what we've got to look. You know, really, our life hasn't even begun. We are creating a foundation. And, you know, and then we've made all these plans of what we'd like to create together when he finally does get here. But I mean, you know, I imagine that day when I go and pick him up from the freaking airport and I'm like, oh my God, it's just going to be even a million times better than I'm imagining it to be, you know. And I'm in no hurry for that to happen, you know, because I know that our time apart is creating a beautiful, strong foundation. And we're discovering all these other things. I mean, who would have thought we can watch Netflix together? And there's so many things we can do. Oh, the other day, I got up really early because I've been getting up. I haven't been sleeping because I get up through the night and everything's just been so intense. When something wants to come through me, honestly, there's no respect for time. It'll come up. I've got to get up. Okay, what the hell's this? And then deal with it. Sometimes it takes 1 hour. Sometimes it takes 6. Sometimes it takes 2 days. So I was up the other day and I said, you know what, George, I'm going to take you to watch the sunrise. So I've gone in my car with my phone. You know, it was like 4:30 in the morning, gone to this beautiful spot at the headland overlooking the beach. And we shared a sunrise together. And I'm like, oh, my God, you know, we've just shared a sunrise together. This is just amazing shit. You know, we don't have to be, well, we're sort of together, but we're not together, but we may as well be together. It's just there's things you can do and things we're going to have to keep doing so that, you know, because we don't really know when he's going to be able to travel over here. So we just have to use our imagination and get creative.
Yeah. Well, you know, time and space. You know, I mean,
He's no good at teleporting. I'm like, George, just focus.
If you can feel her hand, she can feel yours. That's all I can say. But it's like the time and space thing. You know, it's because we went through that. She came for 10 weeks, and then it was 9 months.
Wow.
Nine very, very hard months for me, because I didn't have a support system. You know, I wasn't like in a traditional home, or, you know, but you were talking about that video they took Greg and Allison at the airport.
Yeah.
Well, we have a video of that meeting, and
Wow.
I don't know. It's like so she got off the plane. She came all the way from Australia. She gets off the plane, and they get her in customs, and she doesn't have some whatever, and they're going to send her back. I didn't know this. Not to mention she'd been on a flight for 30 hours, right? And so she came out pushing a buggy, and we go up and hug. You see it on the video. You would have never known she went through all that. Like,
oh my God.
it was like we never were apart. It was weird. It was really weird. It was like we were never apart. And yeah.
How did
So
you feel?
this
Laura, how did you feel?
what?
How did you
When
feel?
I saw her?
Laura.
Well, I had to wear a diaper because my Kundalini went off the chart. What do you mean? I mean, you know what? I mean, what am I going to say? Like,
When you saw her, I mean, she's such a goddess, you know. Your
oh, yeah.
felt
So, yeah, but it's been that way since the day I met her. Like, even when I would try to get her out of my head, I couldn't. You know, even when I get upset or get pissed off, you know, and, you know, maybe they were projecting that it was her or something she said, I couldn't get her out of my head. So that's that part that you're talking about where, and I do think it's a little bit different, you know, like, because she did have an understanding and I had a knowing, not that she didn't, but I had a knowing that I couldn't fit into the puzzle that I was familiar with playing with, or the sandbox I was playing in. But like you said earlier, there's just this thing about it. You just keep going. You just know you got to keep going. But there's always the element, especially in the early days of it's almost like too good to be true. So I would say to myself, it's this or something better. It's either this or something better with someone else or with this person. In fact, we used to say that to each other, and in the highest reverence. Don't get me wrong; it wasn't like So yeah, so much of this stuff that comes in, whether it's with couples or individuals, is so subtle. It's beyond intuition. It's hard to explain, from my point of view.
Todd, you know what happened? My first marriage, I've only been married once, and I thought he was my Prince Charming. And, you know, when that all went to shit, I actually threw my, you know, happy ever after out. I thought, you know what? This is just a freaking fantasy. This is not real. This is not real love. You know, real love is hard, and, you know, all the rest of it. And I think it was really hard for me to trust again, because it is a little bit too good to be true. And I know that anything too good to be true, you know, I don't know, you know. So, you know, we really have to have faith, and there is a lot of trust. And you know what? Whenever I go off course a little bit, and I'm having doubts or something, you can bet your life that something will come into my awareness to put me back on the right path. It's incredible. It's like the universe or God or whatever you want to call it is conspiring to make this happen.
It is.
And it is, mate. It's like you've got to just keep going, because even when there are doubts, and I mean, even yesterday I had a doubt, you know, I'll be honest, I had a doubt yesterday. And you know what? And then the right thing just shows up on Facebook, or, you know, a friend would come up and mention the right thing. And it's like, yeah, that's right. And it just pulls you back in. I think you need to stay focused. You need to get rid of all the distractions. This is new. Like this is why I reached out to Morgan, because I know that she went through it. And I know you were in America And she was in Australia, so I thought, oh my God, there's so many similarities here. I've got to touch base. I don't know how is this supposed to feel this way? You know, how are we going to work this out? And you know what? It's about accepting the unknown. We don't know how it's going to work out. No. We don't know if we believe it here. You know, we don't know. He might, you know, there might be some riots with the voting tomorrow, and you know, he might be taken out. We just don't freaking know.
You don't know. You don't know.
Have to just trust, and if it's meant to be, oh my God, it's going to happen. Well, and whatever that will be, you just got to have no attachment to it, because otherwise you're trying to control it.
That's key.
No control. This is I surrender. You know, let's just you know, and that's what it's about. It's about surrendering, and it'll unfold in perfect timing. We just have to allow it to just unfold the way it wants to. You know,
Morgan used to say, if it's, well, because I never liked that comment. Like, if it's meant to be, everything happens for a reason. I mean, I know there's some truth to these things, but I feel like that we have, any of us, there's a certain level of a schematic or a template, you know, that we start out with, but we have free will. We're moving to the present, and there's always the, you know, the aspect of my choice or my will, or, you know, obviously in alignment and so on. But yeah, so what she used to say was, if it's meant to be, nothing will keep it apart.
Yeah.
And we've even saw this in other couples, and we'll go, I wonder what's going on there. But, you know, it's if it's meant to be, and these weird things do happen, right? Like this happened to us. She came, she was there 2-3 weeks. I was, you know, working her process, and brought up a lot of shit. And I guess I got loud and projected, and a lot of wounds were coming up. And she's like, man, I've had enough of this man child. So she went to the airport, you know, to go to New York. And I knew, I just want to tell you, I knew that's like all I ever get is I just know, I don't know what to do, but I knew she wasn't going to go. Like, something told me she's not going to be able to go.
Wow.
And sure enough, 2 airports, and 5 or 6 hours later, she couldn't get a flight. So that was bigger than me, and bigger than us, and bigger than her. There's something, you know, to what she says about if it's meant to be, you know.
Todd, I sound a lot like her. I'll pull.
No kidding.
I'm sick of this is your wounded ego. I don't want to deal with your wounded ego.
Well, you know, and I didn't really understand all this as well as I do now. Once the get to a certain level in the relationship, then you start to realize that you are doing something on an individual level, but there's also a collective impact. Like, can you surrender? You know, like, can you surrender? And then you surrender one day, and then you're like, okay, well, I already surrendered. That's done. But then the next day comes up, and there's like a deeper level of surrender comes. And it's all the goddess. And honestly, in my opinion, it's all the goddess. And what I mean by that is the goddess energy in myself. And that's what happened to me like 2 weeks ago. Like, we went through this period. We both had to be in our own space. There was a lot of stuff happening. But I actually felt my feminine like I'd never have. I mean, like, my feminine was like, hey, man, okay, hello, this, you know, it's her, but it's not her. It's you. And so they were one and the same. And even like last night, we had when we came together last night, she talked for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and then boom, man, this stuff started coming in. And one of the things that came in, but not in terms of like words or images, was just the fact that we were one, like I can't even explain it, like one body.
Wow. Like
one soul. It was mind blowing. So yeah.
Hey, it's been fun watching Outlander together, because I love Outlander, and I know you and Morgan had a thing with Outlander as well.
We just watched it. We're watching it again for the 5th time right now.
Oh my God! When we watch it, it's like, I am so Claire, and oh my God, he is so good. And it's like, and when they get steamy, it's like, George.
That's the only part that's not, you know, it's like,
oh, it's crazy. This is crazy.
George, I can't believe I called you Paul, George. So what do you think, George? We got about, oh, we've already gone an hour and a half.
Wow.
You know what? You guys, I've enjoyed it. We should do it again.
We should.
I got to say this. I got to take my hat. I got to take my hat off to you because there's so many people that, and I'm not saying this to take away from anybody, that have been so, you know, I don't know. They just jump the gun, and then the first thing they want to do is go out. And I've watched some people really embarrass themselves, you know, by jumping the gun. But you guys actually come to the table here. I mean, you're brave and beautiful, and you know, and I got to hand it to you because I can tell just by talking to you, you have absolute trust in the universe, and then you love yourselves, and you're ready for anything. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Wow. Whatever
Yeah.
shows, you know.
Yeah.
Morgan's talking about Outlander that they only last 2 minutes when it gets hot and steamy, and these unions last like 4 hours. Tell me about it.
We got so much to look forward to. That's all I can say.
I just tell you know what I tell her. You lead the way. You know, I'm just lead the way because I've tried everything else. How about you, George? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You know, I get lost, Todd. I just think about all nighter or something like that.
Jeez, man.
Baddies. Oh my God, I've done so well.
Yeah, right.
What a cool, awesome couple. You two look so right. You do. So we'll have to do this again if you guys are up to it. We'll just take it day by day.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm like this, Todd. You know, when you show up wherever you are and you just speak.
Yeah.
And usually it's a stream of consciousness. I just created my own, you know, a YouTube channel a couple weeks ago, and I haven't edited a single video. I think I've created 6 or 7 videos, and they're just one-shot wonders. You know, maybe 5-6 minutes a piece.
That's perfect. That's perfect. That's how I started in 2015. And go figure that, right? I started what looked like was not connected to meeting Morgan, but it was the same time. My first video I made was, I think, 4 or 5 days before I met her.
Wow.
And then everything started, you know. It's like, you know, it's like something happens to the masculine energy when they show up.
Hey,
Like
Tom,
something gets altered, you know.
has she become your motivation?
She's always been my motivation.
Oh,
She's always been my motivation. When I met her, I had probably done 3 videos, like, because I think the first one I did was August the 29th, and I met her on September the 3rd. So I might have done 2 or 3 videos. But from that point on, there was never a time, and we're talking 4,500 videos.
Wow.
So there was never a time, like in that first 9 months, I did 400. And I mean, I'm, you know, I was what I was back then, with all respect to myself. But it's pretty fucking wild, you know. A lot of times I'm hungover, you know, I'm stoned. Sometimes I was drinking. I mean, you know, doing everything. And but every time I got on, she was in the back of my head.
Wow.
Like so there was like this innate thing, and I guess it was soulogy. Soulogy had already been created, but it was a totally different animal. When that energy came in, then everything started shifting. But so yeah, I would think, how can it was all like one, you know, collective, her, me, and everything was lined up. Like, how can I make this happen? You know, so, you know, you show your heart one day, you show your ass the next day, and you get up and do it again. But yeah, absolutely. And still to this day, that's the way it works. But I think that's how creation does. I think that's how the cycle of creation works. You know, in my mind, it's like the mother was God is a woman. She says, I want to expand. She creates made in her image. She gives it full free will. Then the chaos comes. She plays the ball buster. he does all of his stuff that he needs to do and tries everything else until there's nothing left. And by the process of elimination, he's back where he started. And then he realizes how much he loves creation. And then he creates something from her womb, through their union, and it starts again. You know, I personally think that's how it works. In fact, I've been shown that even before I met her, but it was in a different way. So
Todd, we've actually created our baby's been born. We went through the birth of our baby, so we have a name
what?
for our third entity. Entity is just the wrong word, but anyway, we have been through the birthing process.
Wow.
10th of the 10th, we created. Should we share, George?
Go ahead. That's on your mind. On your heart, please.
All right. So we've called it Unica Mystica.
Unica Mystica.
Yep. A union, mystical union. And we did an astrology chart for it. We've got a gene keys chart for it. And oh my God. Wow. So
you know when it was conceived too?
Yes.
Wow.
We're both pretty aware. We're in tune, George. This is why I think we did the fast track 101 version of Harriet's Gamma. I don't know, but we've done the work. We've been doing the work all of our lives, So we were just sort of crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and we are ready to we're not even thinking about that too much and how that wants to express, how that wants to show up. Because at the moment we're still working. Well, I mean, we haven't even met. So, the reality is we haven't met yet. So we're just taking baby steps in that regard. George has got a few ideas what he'd like to do, and so do I.
I bet he does all-nighter. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to behave here. Yeah, but that's very cool. That's very cool. Yeah, we should continue this at some time.
This is the greater good. We're in this for the greater good. And you know what? I'm glad I put my hand up, mate, because this is a lot juicier and delicious than anything I could have conjured up. Let me tell you. This is feels like I'm alive for the first time, and I have never been this freaking happy. It's just amazing. It's just unbelievable, mate. It's unbelievable, I
think we need to get George back on here and get some instruction, because listen to her. This is what every man wants to be a part of.
I'll run into in the middle of your life somewhere and say, wow, look what happens when I show up.
Yeah.
He shows up, and we can go hand in hand, happily ever after, into the sunset and follow our bliss bubbles.
Yeah. Create new magic. Is that what you said earlier, Pauline?
Lots of magic. White magic, not dark.
No, I know.
It's all about.
I know. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. The sky's the limit. Like, I mean, time, space are leaving. Death's not real. I mean, this, and it's not cliche anymore.
And you know what? It's in simple things, Todd. It's in watching a sunset, watching a sunrise, embracing our children, sharing a meal together, having a drink of wine, going out in nature, paddle boarding, whatever way you want to do it, just be present and have fun. This is about having fun. Everyone's too fucking serious about spirituality.
That's what I say.
I threw spirituality out the window with everything else the other day. I threw everything out. I'm like, you know what? Fuck being spiritual. I'm sick of all this language and all this woohoo fucking bullshit. It's like, just get real. You're go and fucking have fun. That's easy. Simple. Have fun.
Holy, you're in trouble, dude. All I gotta say is you better be working out. You better be working out. You're not. You guys are beautiful. We'll love to do it again sometime. And George, if you're doing something, I'll be happy to collaborate with you.
Yeah.
If you're trying to put something together, or if you guys are developing anything that's manifesting in the physical, I would love to support you in that as well. We would love to do that, Morgan and I.
All right. Yeah.
You guys try to keep your etheric hands off each other. Do everything I would.
Take the life on that one.
It's been a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you,
Take care.
Todd. Thank you, Sharon. Love you, brother.
I'm glad you guys came on.